Hey guys, Marsingin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so I'm finally getting a chance to check out this INT free-to-play Trunks. I wanted to get him to full link level 10 before I decided to jump in and showcase him for a video. We're going to see exactly what he's doing here. I thought we'd do the Cell Red Zone stage because, of course, we can technically use his domain straight away. Which is for future Saga allies and enemies of superclass get 10% attack and defense. So very interesting that it buffs enemies as well as allies, but for the most part, you're not really fighting superclass enemies most of the time anyway, right? Like, in fact, at the moment, in terms of the difficult content that we have available in the game, this is only going to apply to a couple of the stages of the Divine Wrath and Mortal Will stage, which, I mean, to be fair, even the Goku and Vegeta one wasn't really that difficult, so it's really only the Vegeta one. Could you imagine using this domain against STR Vegito Blue? So he's doing 10% extra damage to you as well. It'd be kind of funny. But yeah, we're not going to use that straight away. The condition for it is activated when there's a time traveler's enemy or from turn 5 from the start of the turn. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. You would probably want to use it later on anyway. However, I do like the fact that by it being able to be used straight away, that means that the events that we have, like the First Form Cell Red Zone, for example, which is obviously very difficult right from the jump, like straight from turn 1, you could just use this straight away. So that is pretty cool. So very low on the original attack, but we need to build up. I should have really read through his passive before we actually started the run, but I do have the information up here. So 2 key attack and defense 80%. He gets an additional attack and defense 20% with each attack performed up to 80, so he has to attack 4 times in order to get fully built up. Medium chance of performing a crit when there is a Future Saga or Time Travelers category enemy, and then an additional attack and defense 40% when performing a super if there is another Future Saga ally attacking in the same turn. So you're probably going to be running him with Future Saga allies most of the time anyway, considering that his domain is support for those particular units, right? So it kind of makes sense that that's where you're going to be using him the large majority of the time. The only thing that I think is a bit of a letdown for him in terms of his performance in like the current meta is his link partners. So I've got his link list up here, and obviously because he's a base form Trunks, his best link partners are like unawakened versions of some of the TURs that are base form, or like the STR Super Strike Trunks, who is a Savior's support unit, which this guy is not on the category for. So yeah, not in the best place. I mean, he's got Prime Battle LR Trunks as a 5 out of 6 link partner, and he's not terrible, but I mean, he's definitely not like an on-meta unit anymore. And then when we drop down to 4 links, we've got some of the Super Saiyan Trunkses, like the tech one that just got an EZA, the sub EZA for Future Gohan. We've got the free-to-play STR one. I think he still has 1 link to go for me, so I'm still getting him up to full level 10, so I can do a video for him as well. The one thing we do have to remember, of course, when it comes to their performance and their numbers that we're going to see in this video, and then when I do the STR one, is that both of these units are probably getting EZAs. And based on the timing of the part 2 and 3 stuff last year, I think we got the Extreme Z area for the free-to-play units within a week or so of part 2 starting. So remember, we're going to get the teaser video that will, well, I say teaser, it should reveal the full details of the units on Tuesday for the part 2 LRs. And then I wouldn't be surprised, the banner's going to drop either Wednesday or Thursday, and then I wouldn't be surprised if by then we have the Extreme Z area, because based on the dates from last year, that was around the time the Extreme Z area came out for the tech free-to-play 4th Form Cooler and the free-to-play Kid Gohan and Goku card. So that's obviously something that we have to keep in mind, the fact that we are going to get buffs for these units in the form of an EZA. So going by just what they're doing on this like first turn is obviously not the best way to go. But we can get 3 links from you, although getting Cold Judgment from Future Gohan is definitely very, very good here, because Cold Judgment at level 10 is 25% defense. So we can see he's only gotten 1 attack so far. He's up to 168k. Now, you know, he's a free-to-play unit. He's building up kind of slow. It's kind of what we would expect. Again, we're waiting for an EZA for him. Now, the interesting thing is the domain, obviously, is a multiplicative buff, right? So it's just 10% on top of everything else, as far as I'm aware. And so that's going to pump his numbers up a little bit, but 10% isn't really a huge amount. So one of the things we talked about on the last episode of the Slot 1 Super podcast was the fact that I wonder if when he gets his EZA, the effect of his domain will change, like will be upgraded as well, right? Because obviously with domain being a new mechanic, we've never seen a domain unit get an EZA because this is the second unit that even has one, right? So be interesting to see, because if that buff goes up to 15 or even 20%, then that's going to be even more relevant. So, I mean, you can see here, he took a super attack and took a lot of damage. We're not getting lucky with the additionals. I gave mine a build of basically full additional and dodge, because he has that built-in crit chance when you're fighting a future or time traveler's enemy, which I feel like, especially during this celebration, but even once it's over with, like for the most part, I feel like that's where he is going to be the most useful. So I didn't bother to give him any crit in his actual hidden potential. But unfortunately, the additional nor the dodge coming in clutch for that turn, unfortunately. So a little bit of a poor showing so far, but, you know, he is a, like I say, I kind of will have to go back to this point again and again, I suppose. But he is a free-to-play unit that does not yet have an EZA, which we assume he's going to get very, very soon. So I'm not expecting, like, crazy things out of him, of course. But definitely not, like, particularly impressed with what we've seen so far. I think maybe on the next turn, I will just go ahead and fire off the domain, right? Because we might as well start seeing him with that buff. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out on the next turn here for our boy, but definitely not looking too crazy. I feel like the skeleton is there though for him to get a very, very good EZA, right? Because all you have to do is buff all of his numbers, right? So you buff his start of turn stats, you buff the amount that he gets on each attack, and then the maximum it can go up to. Buff the amount that he gets from having the super from having the future class ally in the same rotation, and then if possible, because we don't know if they are going to do that or not, but if possible, buff the support that the domain gives him, and then that on top of EZA stats, he could potentially be looking pretty good. In fact, I think I didn't mention his super attack effect. I have closed that other window now, so I'll have to get that up here on his next turn and check it out. But if his super attack effect isn't particularly good, then obviously that would be another great way to give him another solid buff here as well. So with the support from Mai, now that he's attacked twice, he's still under 200k. He does raise attack and defense for one turn. I wonder if they would, with an EZA, put that up to greatly raise, because that would make a significant difference. But yeah, let's go ahead and use his domain here.
We're not fighting here in West City. I'm taking this fight somewhere else.
I love the fact that people are referring to this as to the touch grass domain, because he immediately yeets you over to the grassy wasteland area. It's pretty funny. So if we move him so he doesn't have cold judgment, he's only at 172. Would Trunks kill him here? I don't want Trunks to kill him, but let's see. So with the buff now to our allies thanks to the domain, we're now at 215k. Tech Trunks is already at 632, which is pretty good. And then we'll go ahead and grab these for Mai. So, I mean, there is the possibility that if Trunks gets multiple additional supers here, we could finish off Cell. But Cell is int, so we would need crits in order to do good damage. I know he can build up crit chance, but at least on that first attack, we did not get one. And I think we should be okay, right, for him here to not kill. Although, I don't know, actually. Which, again, I guess is another problem with this Trunks, because one of the things I thought when I first read his kit was that he could be a pretty decent, like, third rotation floating support unit, but then the problem is he needs to attack to build up his passive. So then if you get a turn like that, where you're then not getting any build up, then obviously he's now just kind of stuck, right? We, like, missed a turn, essentially. So that is a little bit unfortunate. I think we will... I'm actually going to float off Future Gohan so that we can have the rotation with him and this Trunks. Because we've been on such low HP, he hasn't had the possibility to transform. So, and that does mean he has his damage reduction as well here. Although, did we go above 70%? I think we may have just gone above. But to be fair, a couple of the attacks from Cell here probably would be enough to put us below. I'm not sure. Bulma's not exactly been super built up at this point. All in all, I'm not really sure what to think of this guy. Like, obviously, I like to do videos on all the new units that come out, at least just to try them out, because these initial showcases are, as I've said many times in the past, like my first impressions of the unit. Like, I'm recording this, I've literally just finished link leveling him. So this is my first time using him. I've tried to bring some units that I thought he would work pretty well with. This is one of his few 200% leads that he has in the game at the moment. Now, I think one thing that we have to bear in mind as well is we're pretty sure at this point, right, that one of the Part 2 LRs is a Carnival LR Spirit Sword Trunks, who will most likely, almost certainly, have a 200% leader skill that this guy will be on. So he might be a valuable support unit for that team if he does get a good enough EZA. So obviously, we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. I was about to say, the worst thing that could possibly happen here is if Gohan didn't have his damage reduction up and took a super, but I think we must have been at the 30%, at exactly 70%, because I can't tell from how close the bar is at the bottom here to the third segment, but definitely pretty close. Alright, so, I mean, yeah, this is the situation, right, where we're getting the support from the domain. Everything is looking pretty good here in terms of our units. Like, this is how we would want to run the rotation in terms of the most optimal. It's just unfortunate for this Trunks. Yeah, 140k and then only getting 30% on super. Little bit awkward because he needs to get what? He needs to attack 4 times and he's only attacked twice and we're already on turn 7. So I think that is the big problem with running him as like a floating support unit, because I'm just going to float him off here. He probably isn't going to get a chance to attack this turn either. But, I mean, he is providing a little bit to the team. The interesting thing is that, like, obviously he's providing support to this rotation because of the domain. Like, he doesn't even actually have to do anything. And, of course, even when he floats off, the domain is still active. So we're still getting that support buff. So he is bringing extra support to the table that is still lasting you on the turn after he's even on the rotation. So I think that is pretty good. Like, for example, some of these more difficult events, like the Goku Black Red Zone, the Zamasu Red Zone, First Form Cell we already mentioned, like, if you had Trunks on the first turn, you could pop his domain ability and then just float him off, like, straight away. Now, that could obviously present issues when you then get back to, like, turn 4, and he's then on the rotation, and depending on which event it is, right? Obviously, if you're in First Form Cell, it's only the one phase, so you're fine. But if you have then moved on to like the second and later phases and you're getting to points where this Trunks is floating back onto the rotation but he hasn't actually done any attacks yet, then obviously he's going to be potentially getting frauded out by the enemy attacks, which is definitely not what you want. So it's yeah, I don't know what to think, to be honest. I try and be a little bit more easy on free-to-play units because I don't want to be too judgy of them. I'll judge them too much by like summonable unit standards or anything like that. But definitely not really impressed with anything that this Trunks is doing outside of providing that support. And like I say, the lack of like really good link partners. You know, if he was, I mean, the domain support is nice, but that's kind of it. Look at Vegito just busting out basically a 12 million super attack with... I mean, he's got a lot of support on this rotation, but he only has Fierce Battle active. You start throwing in those actual, like, godly power links and stuff like that on a turn with this support, and he is going to be absolutely just going ham. Which, I mean, he kind of already is anyway, right? So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the free-to-play Trunks down below in the comments. Make sure you do farm up a second SA5 copy and awaken him so that when the EZA drops, you can just get him straight up to SA15 straight away. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do post EZA. I feel like he definitely could have some potential, but as far as it goes, like at the moment, I definitely can't say I'm like super impressed with him, which is unfortunate. And now the domain has worn off, so we are in a bit of a worse position here now. I mean, we could have a pretty fun turn here to end things off. So let's go for... We'll grab these for you. I love how just those orbs gives him 24 key. Then we'll use the Spirit Sword. Hopefully get a good orb change. Not really, but I guess that'll have to do. What does that put him up to? Oh. 763k defense though. I think he's going to be fine. But then yeah, Vegito getting the Dokkan attack in slot 1 as well. Didn't use Vegito's active skill in the end because I didn't want to overpower sell too early on in the event, but there you go. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section when it comes to this free-to-play Trunks. What would you like to see them give him with the EZA? Definitely a lot of things they could do to make him significantly better, but obviously it is early days. We still have no idea what his EZA is going to look like. For one, as I've said, unless they have said somewhere that they won't be doing that and I haven't seen it, hopefully they do buff the support from the domain. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they end up doing with this guy. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.